diagnosis of lupus changed the journey of my life because I had, for the past 10 years, planned out that I was going to study musical theater in high school and college, move to New York, and try and pursue the dream of being on Broadway. And that wasn't really possible anymore when you physically can't walk more than a mile, raise your arms, can't get out of bed during the morning. The greatest challenge of living with lupus is probably the uncertainty. I am 27 years old, I'm getting married in January, and as a person in your late 20s, you want to have fun and plan trips and plan dates and adventures, and some of those don't necessarily come to fruition. When people get older, they expect to have certain symptoms and they slow down and they get arthritis, and it's like expected. Oh, I'm 80 years old. It's okay that I can't do this anymore, but I'm 27. It's not really okay that I can't sing and dance anymore when I used to be able to. My greatest fear of living with lupus is not being able to be a mom. That has always been my goal in life. I always had a goal of being on Broadway, but my greatest goal is being able to have my own children and be a mom. My sister has said that she will carry my children if I'm not able to, but that is probably my greatest goal that I'm working towards physically with my medications, with my doctors. And that would be my greatest fear if this disease affects me from not being able to be a mom. A cure. There needs to be one medication for everything that we deal with. Obviously, that is very difficult because every single lupus patient has a completely different list of symptoms than the next one. But whatever we can do to minimize the effects of the first medication to the second medication to the third would be amazing. There's no reason why someone should be taking 10 pills in the morning and 10 pills at night to just battle the morning pills and the night pills. Currently, I just started Benlysta for my lupus symptoms, which is the first drug that came out for lupus in the past 50 years. With that drug, I still have to take my past drug, which was methotrexate, which I was on for 4 years, that isn't working as well. So I take an infusion of the Benlysta every 4 weeks, which is about 3 to 4 hours, and then I take a shot at home every week of methotrexate. Eventually, once the Benlysta starts working in 3 to 6 months, I will be able to minimize the methotrexate. As of now, I'm on both, so that is very fun. The Georgia chapter has helped me in a very special way. My mother, Cara Myler, started working there in 2006, and in 2009, I started showing autoimmune symptoms. As soon as that happened, through her connections, I was very lucky to have a support team of rheumatologists and hematologists who help us through that platelet disorder. And following, a couple of years later, when my lupus really flared and presented itself, it was amazing to have the support system of the entire Georgia chapter.
I was 26 when I was formally diagnosed with lupus. I had a burgeoning medical career. I'd just been accepted to medical school. I played every sport that you can think of. I was a college fencer. I was a college tennis player. Played golf. Loved to ski. The lupus diagnosis was catastrophic. It ended my medical career, and it also ended my love affair with sports. And it ended my ability to be able to do the things that I love to do most. It took away my freedom. The greatest surprise is that every day is a surprise. The greatest surprise is waking up and going, oh, I feel fantastic today. I'm going to do A, B, C, and D. And then you, 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, the morning rolls down and you've done A and B and you're thinking, yeah, I'm not feeling so swell. And so you have to lay down and before you know it, it's the afternoon and you're thinking, what are we going to do this afternoon? And then your body dictates to you what you're going to do. My greatest fear is that I will not get to see the end of the story. And what do I mean by that? I have a 14-year-old daughter who's the most important person in the world to me. She's bright and clever and pretty and one of the funniest people you may ever encounter in your life. I fear that I won't get to see her graduate from high school. She's in 8th grade this year. If I make it that far, I fear that I won't see the college graduation. I won't see the big things, the things that people see in life. And I have hope that because of the Georgia chapter, because of the fundraising, because of the educational outreach, because of the efforts that Maria and her board members and everybody who shows up for walks and the symposiums where the doctors speak and give us more information, which are power for you if you have lupus, and if you're a caretaker, they're doubly power for you. They're things that you should attend. So now we have all of these things that we didn't have in 2006. We haven't waited. We have worked. We have been out there. We have done everything that we possibly can to say, hey, you're not alone. You will get through this. We will all beat this soon. And when we do, you'll have your life back.
The chapter does great work with education, outreach, awareness, research. There's so many touch points and angles that this chapter, it's the lifeline for people that live with lupus. The advocacy efforts of the Georgia chapter allow people with lupus to raise their voice. It is so important for legislators to hear our stories. No one can tell your story, your journey, but you. And so to make a difference in the state of Georgia, to move that needle so that people really get this disease, we cannot remain silent. We have to continue to tell the story. We have to continue to raise the voice.
I am proud to be the recently elected chair of the Georgia chapter. I'm an employment lawyer, generally for employers. What I found where I can be of some service to the chapter is taking calls from different patients who are able to work but have issues. One of the issues is, can they be accommodated? I deal a lot with the Americans with Disabilities Act and workplace accommodation, and one of the biggest problems you have with employers is the fact that the patients don't look sick. I've talked to some incredibly beautiful young people that look like could be modeling for magazines that are too sick to work. Every case I've worked with, bar none, the employer thinks the person is faking. I've generally been on the side of the boss doing these things. And, and many times when I've worked on Americans with Disabilities Act cases, I've thought, are they pulling something, or are they trying to get something for nothing? And it's sort of changing my outlook to see these things. And now when I get one I'm having to defend, I look more closely. I try to understand more the disease process that the person's doing, or the actual illness. I think it's made me a better lawyer.